Hello, my name is Shorana Shavardashvili. I'm the editor of the political weekly magazine here, The Liberal. My question is, I'll try to make it brief. There's a lot of talk about Georgia being compromised on the U.S.-Russia in the U.S.-Russian context. It's not on the agenda anymore. At the same time, we just finished with the local elections, and it seems like we're going to have a relatively peaceful time until 2012 and 13 to really do some of our homework that all of us need to do, especially in relation to democracy. And I also stress the importance of the civil society on this front. But there is also another factor is the disappointment with the government among some people, and also the weakness of the political opposition, especially pro-Western political opposition groups. So there seems to be a little bit of a void here, and which raises concerns. So what would be your message? That is Georgia really compromised, and is there actually going to be a real support for the real change of power in 2013, whatever that means? Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for running a newspaper called The Liberal, which happens to be a very good word, despite efforts over many years in my own country to somehow render it unacceptable, when truly it talks in its very meaning, its core meaning, about the importance of freedom and responsible choices, etc., self-sufficiency and the like. Look, I think that the United States can walk and chew gum at the same time. That's an old expression. You understand it. We decided we wanted to improve relations with Russia because when President Obama and I began to exercise the responsibility for our foreign policy, it was at a very low point. Lots of mistrust, which can breed all kinds of misunderstandings and other problems. And so we have worked to try to forge a better relationship with Russia, and we have seen some results. We have a New START treaty to reduce the nuclear weapons on both sides, which I think is important, since between us we have more than 90% of the nuclear weapons in the world. We have worked to contain North Korea and Iran and their nuclear programs, and when we started, it wasn't at all clear Russia would agree with us on Iran. Russia is supporting our efforts in Afghanistan and in many other areas. We've seen positive movement. However, at the very same time, we continue to object to and criticize actions by Russia which we believe are wrong. And at the top of the list is the invasion and occupation of Georgia. We say it, we mean it. We support actions to try to give you the backing that you need in order to stand up to the threat that you believe comes from Russia. Now, I'm troubled by what you said and by what the young woman from the opposition said, that there is a kind of a void, a growing discouragement or turning away from the West. I just can't imagine. I don't know. I can't imagine. I mean, it's just beyond my imagination that a country that has fought so hard to be independent, despite the difficulties, would be seeking another potential route. So it's up to Georgians to decide the future, but I think Georgia can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think Georgia can be very strongly in favor of your territorial integrity and your independence and your sovereignty and your democracy, and be willing to stand up against the Russians or anyone else who would undermine that without provoking an incident, without leading to another confrontation, and while standing up for your rights, develop your democracy and develop your economy and provide greater opportunities to the Georgian people. There is no reason why both of those cannot happen at the same time. I think it is a mistake to focus on the past. Too many countries in this part of Europe are looking backwards instead of forwards. And you cannot go forward if you're looking in a rearview mirror. That doesn't mean you forget the past. It doesn't mean you don't take prudent measures to protect yourself. But staying focused on what you can do today and tomorrow to improve your lives and the lives of your family and the lives of your fellow citizens by building your democracy and opening your economy and providing for justice and social inclusion, that to me is the great mission of Georgia. I mean, at the end of the day, what you want is for Georgia to exemplify a strong democracy and a strong economy in this part of Europe. And there certainly is a lot of threats that we see coming from the extremists and those who would take away not only human rights, but in particular women's rights, would turn the clock back on women. And one of the things I admire about your First Lady is she is a very staunch, vocal advocate of women's reproductive rights and family planning, which is an important right for women to have access to. So let's focus on what the real future is and recognize that, yeah, you live in a tough neighborhood, but that should be an even greater spur to demonstrate what Georgia can mean not only for itself, but for the world.